Bellows and Bellas, welcome to Moxie Witz, episode 4. In today's conversation, we're going to be joined by a very special guest. Some may know him as a social media trendsetter, ex-Manosphere leader, YouTube streets pioneer, the man that brought Fresh and Fit together, and your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not dodging any smoke today. And we're blowing up spots to bring you the facts. So please welcome Solo TV 84 and buckle up because we are in for a ride. Nothing will be left on the table. So without further delay, let's slide right in. How did you get into just YouTubing? Why don't we start from there? Because you're like some pioneer in these YouTube streets, right?
Yeah, if you want to say that, First, I just want to say thank you for having me on. You know what I'm saying? I know we've been having some technical difficulties, but hey, we're making it do what it do. That's a really good question. So I got started YouTubing when I first created my channel in 2009. It wasn't even to make a YouTube channel. It was just at that time in my life, I used to go out a lot with friends and I would have these large video files of me and my boys just going out. And my laptop, this was back in 2009 when laptops had like 50 megabytes. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't had a lot of space on these laptops. So yeah, I created a YouTube channel just to basically upload those videos. And then I used to have a blog in 2010 called The Soloist. And that was back when I was a young man in my, early to mid 20s, just going on my adventures, my dating life. And for my OG fans, they'll remember that because that was just me talking about in real time my dating experiences, which back in those days, right, 2010, 2011, blogs were very popular, if you remember, right? It was back then a black guy blogging. And then back then I was doing something different. I would post what's now known as receipts. So I would have pictures of my nights out, like, yo, here's me at the bar, or here's the shorty I was talking to. So I had a little, I don't want to use the word cult, but I had a small loyal following that were really rocking with me. And then I decided to quit blogging because at that point I was going through a spiritual transformation where I realized just going to clubs and trying to pursue one night flings or meaningless flings wasn't the business. But then there was still this itch to make content. So in 2013, I made a video titled "Don't Date Single Mothers," and that video kind of got a lot of views.
Mother, wait a second, Solo, my man, you're telling me that you were the one that started this fucking rhetoric? Excuse my French. Because
I wasn't the one who I wasn't the one who started it. No, I wasn't the one. I mean, Tommy was already talking about single mothers way before I was. You know what I'm saying? But I was one of the earlier ones to have a video about it. And then 2015, I decided, hey, let me just make content every day and see where it goes. And I just started putting out different type of videos. A lot of my earlier videos were videos on, game and how to date and what people would say manosphere videos too. And then 2018, I blew up that year because I was doing Jubilee video reactions. Do you remember those 6 girl versus 1 guy dating type videos? But then, 2018, that Jubilee genre blew up. And then that's what helped catapult my channel to 50,000. And then I got shadow banned in 2019. And then I moved to crypto and the rest is history.
So what made you get shadow banned? Do you know?
I got shadow banned because I was using other people's content to do reaction videos. So that basically was the end for my channel. Once I got shadow banned, I used to average, 30 to 50,000 views a video. And then now, I don't even upload like that, but if you go to Solo TV 84 now I'm lucky if I average 500 to 800 views per video. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So tell me about more about just,
after you got shadow banned, because I know that you were recently demonetized, right? Are you able to speak to that? I'm really sorry that happened. That freaking sucks. Do you know why?
Yeah, so I think they didn't really give me a reason why. They just said that I was reposting other people's content. So my theory is I bought a license to my intro song that I use, that I have the license for. I paid for it legally. And what would happen is anytime I would go live and play it, I would, it would then be revenue shared, right? Because they have the automatic copyright that they do on videos. And so they would automatically revenue share. So I think that's what it is. But what sucks is it's a song that I own the licensing to it, so I can legally play it, but YouTube doesn't care. So at this point, I'm going to be real with you. With my main channel, as you know, I used to do MANOSPHERE content, but I got out of it because a couple years ago, I just felt like the space was just going too far left for me. And there were a lot of things I just didn't agree with, not just in front of the camera, but also behind the scenes. There are a lot of politics that people don't know about that go on in the manosphere, which is goofy to me, where it's kind of like the top guys like to play gatekeepers. And if you're not on your knees sucking on their phallus, then, it is what it is, right? And then so because of that, and also growing up and realizing that, my ideology as a man is changing because I'm going through these different experiences, family members dying and having encounters, religion with God and things like that. I was like, I can't talk about this anymore. And then also I got into crypto, of course. And I was like, why are we so focused on talking about what these women are doing, what feminism? Why aren't we talking about getting the bag and stuff like that? And then these manosphere guys, we were like, shut up. We're going to keep talking about these women. We're going to keep talking about these hoes and run the bag up. And I was like, you know what? So y'all want to mislead the youth? Fuck that. I'm not, excuse my language. I don't know if I can curse on this.
No, you can.
Screw that. Screw that. I'm going to just do my own thing. So I started a new channel called Trendsetter TV Crypto, where I focus primarily on just that.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not a fan of crypto. I could see how people have gotten rich since it's like, not regulated. And I was reading that 70% of those sales are wash trades. So, there's a lot of, wash trading is actually illegal in, the SEC and the IRS. Like when you're trading securities, you can't wash trade. You have to wait 30 days because that's a great way to manipulate the market. And so in crypto, that's why these guys were so happy because, when they were cracking down recently, they didn't do that. Although it's going to come, watch. It's like the same thing when they, when they went at Wall Street and they made all those, right. The first one was like, after the stock market crashed in 29, like the first act, was I think like 1933 or something. And they started doing regulations. That's how it started. And then there was another one, 1934, because it was out of control, the fraud. But interesting segue. But I want to know more about why you left the manosphere and what the hell was going on with that. Please spill the tea.
So my main thing is after I got shadow banned, right? 90% of my income just disappeared overnight. And when I came up in the manosphere, a lot of people that were nobodies, and I say that with no malice, but people that were unknown, they got their first big break through me, like having an interview through me. Because imagine if you have a smaller channel that has 1,000 subscribers, and then at the time I had 15,000 or 30,000 or 50,000 at the time, and I give you an interview, that's going to help out your channel a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I was the first person to ever interview Alpha Male Strategies. I was the one of the first people to interview Steph is Cold. Everybody knows me for putting together Fresh and Fit, which I just introduced them. If I put them together, knowing what I know now, I would have signed those mofos under a contract. You know what I'm saying? Just to get 10%. But I helped out a lot of people. Yep. I helped out a lot of people when, you know, they were trying to come up on YouTube. And the only people after my shadow ban, the only people that really helped me out was Fresh and Fit. Like, they're the only people that like reached back to me. All the hundreds of people that I interviewed before, they could care less, you know? And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because my thing is, if this is supposed to be men supporting other men, then I'm not asking for you to interview me in a channel. Just give a brother a shout out. And then people were saying, oh, you're salty. Oh, you're mad because you didn't blow up. And it's simply not that. It was simply a fact that, hey, when a lot of these YouTubers were nobodies, I gave them a platform, and you can't even shout me out. You know what I'm saying? And so it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then also there were politics too behind the scenes, where, you know, everybody knows now Fresh and Fit were beefing with Kevin Samuels behind the scenes, and then people had to pick sides. And the fact of the matter is, you know, at that time, I wanted to be neutral as possible. You know, I mean, I was cool with Kevin too, but me and Kevin, we weren't really that cool, even though we had done a show together, the 7 show, right? There were other people on it. And at that time, I was closer to Fresh and Fit than I was to Kevin, right? But there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people, and I don't really want to get into all of that, because I don't, you know, it's just, everybody knows now, it's public now. But it was just kind of like YouTubers were, you know, drawing the line in the sand. And if you didn't want to go along to get along, then, you know, certain people wouldn't rock with you. And to me, I've always been my own man. I'm not a yes man. I do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? Whether I rock with you or not, I will always do my own thing. And sometimes that rubs people the wrong way, because the Manosphere has this motto of, if I do some fuck shit, don't call me out. And if you do some fuck shit, I won't call you out. Well, then what the fuck is the point of being accountable then?
What do you mean when you say fuck shit? Because that can mean a lot of things, right? It's like, what kind of fuck shit? Like,
I mean, it could be anything. Let's say a YouTuber starts beefing with another YouTuber. You know what I'm saying? For example. Or, you know, I remember once, you know, AMS telling me, and I've already made this known, AMS telling me that, well, since Kevin doesn't rock with Fresh and Fit, I don't rock with Fresh and Fit. Steph doesn't rock with Fresh and Fit. I was told this, right? So basically what AMS was saying is, because Kevin Samuels doesn't rock with F&F, he don't rock with F&F either. But then when Kevin Samuels died, 2 months later, you're an F&F. You know? So it's just stuff like that, where content creators don't want to be held accountable. And me personally, I don't really, like I said, I'm not a yes man. I will call it out. So it is what it is. And unfortunately, because I've become more critical of people, now I've kind of been, you know, blackballed from, you know, having with a lot of content creators rocking with me. But, you know, to me, it doesn't really matter, because, you know, we've seen a lot of these content creators get exposed for being frauds, for being scammers, you know, criminals and all of that. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to drag people. That's not what I'm trying to do. But we already know all that.
God, man. I was hoping you were. I was hoping you were going to get a little messy.
Nah,
but
I mean, you know.
I respect that. You want to keep it sexy. That's what I call keeping it sexy. Like, you want to just, you know, right? You don't want to cheat too much. You don't want to expose the
I mean,
you know, somebody.
I think Moxie, you already know. You can read between the lines. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know, I mean, it's just like we're at a stage now where, you know, I understand there are a lot of young men out here that are frustrated. They don't, you know what I'm saying? A lot of young men that are not, that feel like they've been misled by society, and rightfully so. A lot of men that are confused, right? But unfortunately, the messengers that are spreading the message, not all of them are, in my opinion, are qualified to spread the message. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you know, you hear the same type of conversation about high value man, but all that talk and conversation is all materialistic and based off of superficiality. There's no substance to that conversation. It's always about, I need a 6-figure guy, or you need to make 6 figures as a man to be considered high value. And real talk, some of the most low value people I know are some of the richest ones I know personally that are scumbags. So because you make money, in my opinion, it doesn't make you high value. It just makes you high earning. But those two always get conflated. And when you start to talk about character, principle, integrity, stuff like that, honesty, loyalty, nobody really talks about that. But everybody wants to talk about high value man, this high value man, that. And, you know, the whole conversation then gets lost in the sauce. 90% of people who are watching that, by that metric, they will never even qualify to be a high value man. It's only 10% of people, if I'm wrong, making six figures, right? So it's just a lot of cope. Now, obviously, my definition of a high value man is different than the average person in the manosphere, because to me, I look more I'm looking at a person's character. Are you loyal? Are you honest? Are you a person that if it's time to, you know, if we're in a situation, if it's time to knuckle up, you're going to have my back. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these YouTubers, they don't even live what they preach. Just look at Anton Daniels. Said a name.
Tampon Daniels, Scamton Daniels. I mean, oh my God. Antwat, like there's so many names for this guy. And like this bag chasing course, I've heard not great things at all. And the real estate shit,
chasing course?
It was like some bag chasers, like I don't know about. He's like he calls it bag chasers or whatever, and like I think like it's like some monthly. I think it's like on his Patreon or something, or like there's some like bag chasing thing that he like gives advice on real estate, and some people exposed them. They were like, "Dude, you don't know shit." But I don't know. You know what? Don't want to say, the guy doesn't know jack shit, because you know what? I didn't, partake in that, bag chasers course or whatever the fuck it is. But I didn't hear good things, There's a lot of fake it till you make it, especially in YouTube, because it's like everybody could just turn on their computer, get a mic, get a ring light, and, all of a sudden you're a freaking expert. Get a green screen. I live in Manhattan. You know what I mean? I'm a New Yorker. I've been around the block. Whereas some of these people, they're in West Bubblefuck. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They didn't have a social life. They're just like, ex-nerds, which there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like the problem is just the, disingenuous just ways about it. It's like they're not helping men. They're leading them astray. I like what you spoke about, character, honesty, integrity. Like these are what makes a person. This is like a foundation of what really makes a person. Like the other shit, you can make money, and I'm telling you, you could lose it the next day. And even if you make six figures, like I live in New York, so six figures is like, you better be making six figures. If not, it's going to be hard. You know what I mean? But it's like six figures here isn't six figures in freaking Nebraska or wherever the fuck, what else? It's not six figures. Like, what about Detroit, right? Like, but point is that, man, like these people, they're not qualified, man. And it's like, why don't they try to at least help people? Okay, fine, they're not qualified, but at least come from a genuine place. But instead, they want to keep it on the surface, right? And they want to not talk about, they want to talk about, six figures, but it's like, then what? If you're leading with your money, unfortunately, women or men, if you're gay, right? Or whatever, like they're going to use you. And the same way you use those women, right? For their, big ass or whatever the hell, right? Like they're going to use your ass for money. So it's like, it's better. Like, and the thing is like, you want somebody that's going to freaking grow old with you, man. You want to have somebody that you could take trips with. And it's like, you share those memories. You don't want to have like, it's one thing when you're in your 20s or whatever, early 30s, whatever the hell, early 30s, whatever. But it's like, there's a point where you want somebody to share things with, and you want to know that you can grow with somebody. You know what I mean?
I mean, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier about one of the first videos that I made that got a lot of clicks. A lot of men that are growing up now, particularly Gen Z men and Generation Alpha that is after Gen Z, they're being raised by single mothers, right? And that is a huge problem.
Are you talking about like a certain demographic, like single mothers? You're talking about black men, or are you talking about?
I'm speaking in general because the single mother in white communities is high as well, right? So the reality is that a lot of these, I mean, if you look at the statistics, there are more white single mothers than black single mothers, but black single mothers make a higher percentage. So percentage-wise, you have more black single mothers, but from a numerical population-wise, you have more white single mothers. Does that make sense? So the point I'm trying to make is you have a lot. So you have a lot of these young men, right, that are growing up in households where they don't have a masculine figure around. And so they don't know in the real world how to maneuver and deal with women. And this is why you have a lot of these guys, then they go on the internet look at how these dating coaches or how to be alpha or whatever it is that they're looking at, right? And that's why you have a lot of confusion. Look at Andrew Tate, for example. The reason why Andrew Tate blew up so fast in the last 2 years is why? Because of young men. There are a lot of young men that don't have a masculine figure around, and that's why Andrew Tate has been able to blow up, because of the fact that I believe, Moxie, you may disagree with me, but men do need to have a safe space where they can have conversations that are not politically correct, right? Men have always had the locker room. The locker room now is YouTube. However, the problem is when I used to be in the manosphere, we used to talk about self-improvement and how to be better with women, how to get the women that we wanted, right? But then somewhere along the lines, the last 3 years, I think, it went to now where it's just now turned into these TikTok compilation videos where it's just dunking on women, and there's no real game being given now, right? So that's why you hear the same type of rhetoric, because everybody's doing the same thing, but there's no. When was the last time you watched a Red Pill video and it showed a guy giving advice on how to talk to a girl at a club or something like that? You don't see those videos no more.
There's that guy, I don't even want to give him props. I mean, whatever. There's a guy that I don't particularly care for, but he tries to give some game to men, and the game is not great. The game is not great. I will tell you that. Because you know what? I think that I agree with you, Solo, where men need a safe space. I think people in general, they need a safe space to be able to talk themselves. But I think men also need some good girlfriends, you know what I mean, that are going to tell them about women. You know, like I never had a problem, thank God, with guys because I grew up with 2 older brothers. I saw them talking very, very loosely with their friends, and I ended up knowing too much. You know what I mean? So
but not everybody has that. Not everybody has that, though.
Exactly, but you can have like some girlfriends like that. You can have like a friend or whatever, like maybe a group. Like you don't want to have a friend that's too close. That's a girl where it's gonna like cock block like future endeavors, and somebody's gonna end up falling in love and whatever. Like never works out, whatever. But I have some guy friends, and I still.
Moxie, so you're saying that dudes should put themselves in the friend zone to learn about the opposite sex? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, if you can't hit, why not? Like, yes, I think so. Because if you don't have sisters, I'm telling you, like those, I'm able to have very good friendships with guys where it doesn't get like that because I don't know, I can hang with the dudes. It's kind of hard to explain where it's like some ladies, they're like, no, you can't be friends with a guy. He just wants to secretly sleep with you. It's like, dude, guys are going to take it. Like, there's very little guys are going to fucking say no when you're a woman that looks halfway decent. You don't even have to be hot and just undress and show them the punani. Like, they're going to say yes, pretty much. But, like, you know, it's just when you know, like that. I love guys. I don't know how there are women out there that hate men. It's very sad to me. It's very, very sad to me. But then again, you know, like I had a dad that was like an OG, you know what I mean? Like I had nice, good men around, not suckers, not suckers. That's a different, like no doormat men. I will tell you that. So I don't know. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think, you know, I agree with you and I disagree. So the part that I will say I agree with, and I think that doesn't get talked about in the manosphere, and I've talked about it a lot, is a concept known as social circle, right? This is where you have a group of friends, typically men and women. And one thing I've learned is social circles are where men and especially younger men, this is how they learn how to talk to women. Now they like to use the word Riz, right? That's the new buzzword for game in 2023. So that's
what are the kids calling it? Riz?
They're calling it Riz. R-I-Z-Z.
Oh my
you from
God.
New York? You ain't heard that slang yet?
Riz? No, I'm not Gen Z. You think listen, let me tell you something. Gen Z annoys the fuck out of me. I think they're such we call them snowflakes. I'm sorry to say, like Gen Z, hold on, I want to stop the show for a second. Like Gen Z, I'm sorry, toughen up a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna feel better. Like call me up. You want to have advice, hit me up on the Discord, whatever. Drop me a comment. Like no disrespect. I just think like they're just always making excuses, bro. And they don't want to
know what is your issue with Gen Z specifically?
No, they're so entitled and they're like always like trying to fucking cancel your ass for saying some shit. And it's like, dude, get a sense of humor. You're being a fucking idiot. Like you're not like, they're just too PC and they want to fucking cancel everybody. And it started with millennials. Okay. And I'm an older millennial. We're around the same age, you and I. Yeah. I'm still a millennial. And dude, it's those younger millennials. It's like the younger millennials into Gen Z. They're very sensitive. And it's like they don't have cojones, man. They don't have chutzpah. Well, it's like they want to confront people behind their keyboards, but it's like, dude, let's really discuss. They don't want to pick up the phone. Like, dude, I used to make a bunch of cold calls, like hustle, like. They don't want to do that. And the thing is also like, and I'm speaking in a general sense, like I'm sure there's some hardworking Gen Zs that are like old souls even that freaking have the swag in there. But it's like, dude, they're like, they want to be like drop shipping. They don't want to like pound the pavement. They want to get rich quick. And I don't even want to think of what foreplay is. I don't even want to imagine what foreplay is for that generation. They're so fucking impatient, bro. They're like, yo, now. What's your experience with them?
I think I have two types of experiences with Gen Z because I do mentor some people that I know personally. So the ones, let me talk about the positive ones. The smart ones are like hustlers, right? I know a Gen Z kid. He's already a millionaire at 26 years old. And because of coincidentally drop shipping, but he started at 16. So he's the exception to the rule. No.
Oh, wow. 27. Okay. So he was at the forefront of that shit. Good for him. Timing is everything. It really is.
Fact. Yeah. Then you have the flip side of Gen Z of guys that are scared to talk to girls and they just want to do dating apps and they wonder why they're meeting, low bottom tier women because you're using dating apps. That's why you're using Tinder. And you're not going to find a wife on Tinder. I got to keep it real. Now, I know you disagree with me, but
I met my husband on
my
Hinge.
opinion. On where?
So I met my husband on Hinge. I think I told you this, and it was when Hinge first came out. So you actually needed a Hinge. It had to be like a person that you know mutually on Facebook. So it's not like it is now.
Hinge was Hinge used to be quality. Now it's I haven't used Hinge because I got banned from it. I don't know why. Who knows?
Wait, banned? But dude, what the hell do you have to do to get a dating app? Like drop a roofie? Like what the fuck happened?
No, they can ban you for anything. Maybe you said something a chick don't like, or they can ban you for your picture. I got banned. My Tinder profile got banned because because I said that I'm looking for my Anastasia Steel. You get that reference?
I don't even know who the hell that is. Is that a porn star? Is that like
That's
Vanessa
50 Shades
Del
of Grey.
Rio? Is that? Oh, right. Okay. I'm like, I want my Vanessa Del Rio.
My Tinder profile got banned for that. For just mentioning that on my profile, that I'm looking for
But
my
hold on.
Anastasia Steel.
Solo, you see what I'm talking about though? That's exactly what I'm freaking talking about. This shit was never happening. People weren't getting banned over bullshit. And that's the thing. It's like they're like, I'm offended. I'm this, I'm that. It's like they don't want to focus on like the facts. Maybe because the facts are too fucked up. I don't know, but
I agree with
so
you.
tell me
It is kind of a snowflake culture. Everything also, I was watching this show, and Gen Z's always talking about, are you in therapy this and therapy that? And this whole therapy thing now is just, in my opinion, is just where they always want to talk about feelings and being vulnerable. I find it just weird. You know what I'm saying? I think it's cool to be self-aware emotionally, but this whole need to talk about feelings with people that you just met, right, on these like Gen Z shows, I find it weird. I do think it's a positive that men can be expressive now, but the reality is in the real world, talking about feelings to a woman that you just met that you care about is not really gonna work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, women don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I think that you have to be patient, get to know each other. You can't, and then the thing is, they're like, oh, what do you bring to the table? It's like, dude, you have no game. If you need to ask somebody what they bring to the fucking table, like, you're not bringing shit.
I think also the confusion, and I don't want to take it left, but it's all these different genders now and pronouns. You know what I'm saying? That's also causing a lot of confusion. And it's just, like you said, it's a snowflake generation. But the crazy part to me is, as soon as you mention something that they disagree with, they lose their shit and want to cancel you. So, for example, let's say you're a Trump supporter. Now they want to cancel you because you support Trump. So to me, that is the biggest hypocrisy of Generation Z. They preach all this inclusivity and inclusion, but as soon as you have a differing opinion than them, they want to cancel you. That is crazy. For millennials, right? When I came up, going back to the manosphere thing earlier, it was about self-improvement. Now it's turned into some like incel shit. You feel me? And it's just weird. Now all of a sudden you got black pill, orange pill, gray pill. You got all these damn pills. You know what I'm saying? So you have on the other side of Gen Z is the people that just want to smoke weed all day and go on these freaking go on Twitch while they high and just, you feel me? It's just really, you either have go-getters in this generation of Gen Z or you got people that are just followers, like you said, herd mentality. And that's another thing, Moxie. I don't know what you see in New York, but I noticed Gen Z, they smoke a lot of weed. And maybe it's because weed is now being legal. I don't want to take it too far left, but that makes a lot of people lazy too if you smoke it from an early age, you know? And now they doing edibles in school. I mean, they wildin'.
In school they're doing it?
Yeah.
Damn.
If you go to Colorado, they sell that shit like near campus.
Well, yeah, I know that. But like they're just like dropping edibles at school. I mean, whatever. I smoked a blunt and went to class like before. Like, good for them. Just as long as they're socializing and just getting out there, that makes me feel good. They're not, right?
Why do you think clubs are dying? They don't go outside.
There's private clubs, a lot of private clubs here in New York.
Yeah, but is Gen Z going to those private clubs? Probably not.
Yeah, but whatever. I mean, look, I hope they, I don't know, as long as they're happy. They just seem a little more depressed and they're lacking, they seem that they're missing some identity. I'm not going to front. Sorry, guys. But I think maybe it's because of the, confusion, with the public schools, and they're trying to like have these young kids pick their genders. It's like, dude, what the hell? Like, and it's like, why are we even talking about this? There's a lot of other shit that we need to be discussing. And it's like, I wonder if it's because like it's easier to just deal with the other shit, I guess, or I don't know, you know.
I mean,
But
it's the old cliche saying, first world problems, right?
exactly, and it's obviously some white man wanted to do it. I think I'm like so on board with Dave Chappelle's assertion of the situation. He's like, yo, some white man wanted to do it. Like, then all of a sudden they're a protected class. So it's like, right? It's like, what about being a Hispanic woman? What about being a black woman? What about being a black man? Oh no, you gotta, this white transgender, you know? Whatever, man. As long as they're happy and as long as they're freaking like, they're not me. Like, don't be calling me cisgender, sis. All right? I'm a woman. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, they're only two genders.
You know what, though?
Genders to me.
And I agree. I see one silhouette. Why am I calling you they? It's very confusing, but I don't know. I don't really get it. But as long like everybody should feel safe and accepted. You know what I mean? As long as they're not hurting anybody. That's
right.
kind of I just don't think that young people need to be making those decisions. It's like, these are life-changing decisions. These are hormones. I think the doctors are getting rich off of this shit, Solo. Like,
Fact.
It's a racket. That shit is a racket. It's the doctors. They're getting paid. I don't trust these doctors, honestly. People say that lawyers are scumbags or whatever. Like, I'll be with an attorney any day of the week than with a doctor. Deadass. My husband's an attorney too, but still, like, always. You know what I mean? But I want to talk about, like, Fresh and Fit. I want to go back to that, if that's okay. Like, I was pleasantly surprised that you said that they were actually one of the only people that, showed you respect after, like, you lost your channel or whatever it be. Like, I'm surprised to hear that, and I like that. Can you tell me more just about your relationship and kind of like, and what do you think about them getting demonetized as well?
Yeah, I mean, I made a video about it. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate that they got demonetized. I think that they are helping man, even though a lot of people may disagree. But I think that certain boundaries and lines were definitely crossed when you have Nick Fuentes on and you putting on the KKK type of hoodie. You know what I'm saying? And I don't condone that. I've said that before. Now, in regards to that, like, when they've blew up, they've always, shouted me out, and I've been on their show a couple times in the past. I haven't been lately, but honestly, me and Fresh, we did an interview about 4 or 5 months ago when I first came back to YouTube, and once again, Fresh, embraced me and said, "Hey, let's do an interview." We did it on his channel to kind of get my viewership going. I haven't talked to Myron honestly in a minute. But our relationship, obviously, I'm gonna be real. It's not like it used to be 3 years ago where I used to be able to talk to them all the time. Obviously, those guys are busy, and I've got things going on as well. So, it's to see their rise is very interesting to me because I don't think a lot of people realize these guys were literally, they had a small channel, and then literally they went viral, and then overnight they just got an audience. And I think that, a lot of people don't understand the adjustments that you have to make. And they've made mistakes along the way, and they've owned those mistakes. But then also, like I was telling you earlier, there's also politics involved that a lot of people are not privy to behind the scenes. The fact that, let's keep it real, Kevin Samuels, let it be known. I mean, Moxie, I'm gonna keep it real with you. The manosphere behind the scenes at one point was like Game of Thrones. You ever watch that shit? Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
It was literally like that. The politics. And people always ask me, well, who is Kevin Samuels? Kevin Samuels was Littlefinger, in my opinion. He was Littlefinger because of the way that, and if you know Littlefinger, Littlefinger was always 2 moves ahead of everybody. You know what I'm saying? But until he, what's her name? Well, if you watch Game of Thrones, you know what happened with Littlefinger. But there's a lot of politics. And once again, to me personally, I just think it's, a lot of these YouTubers really, it's not the manosphere. It's not really a brotherhood. It's relationships based on you popping, I'm popping. Let's form together like Voltron. You know, half of these guys don't even like each other. They talk shit about each other behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So to me personally, it just got to a point where I realized, you know what? I thought that we were doing a community here, and that wasn't the case. A lot of people here are just about money. And you know what? I'm not mad at that. Get your bag, get the money by any means. I'm not mad at that at all. But the problem is that I'm not willing to sell my soul to make money. You know what I'm saying? And there's just a lot of people now that everybody's trying to emulate Fresh and Fit or Andrew Tate. And the reason why a lot of these new YouTubers are not really popping is because they're fake. I mean, look at Just Pearly Things. She's the fakest of them all. You know what I'm saying? And she just copied what Kevin Samuels did and what Fresh and Fit did. But this girl doesn't even believe what she's saying. There's no conviction at all. And if she just does it because she knows that's what Sims wants to hear. And even Pearl said, well, the red pill thing, this is what Pearl said in one of her videos. She's like, a lot of guys don't believe it. They're all going to get married eventually. So that lets you know that she doesn't even believe what she's saying. And we saw what happened with Sarah Gavi and her Africans. We saw all that, right? And so the reality is, to me, that was the beginning. Like when Kevin Samuels died, that was the beginning of the end for the red pill, because y'all let this musty, dusty, ugly white girl come in and all these sucker and simps. I mean, Moxie, do you remember that one video clip that people used to play where Pearl was talking about a dude paid her $500 for 30 minutes?
Yes.
Moxie, no, I'm not trying to be thirsty, but Moxie, you know how much money you could get if you did that type of shit? Just get on YouTube, show some cleavage and say, oh, men, I love all men, and men, all women need to get on their knees for every man. Moxie, them niggas is going to be freaking in your cash.
Nah, they don't want me because I'm too real. I'm too real, and I hurt people's feelings. I don't give a shit. I'm like, you know what?
Saying, but that's why I'm saying, Moxie, if you switch, I'm not saying you should, but if you were to switch it up and pander to men, they would make it rain in your Cash App and PayPal. And this is the reality. And this is why, to me, it's kind of like the biggest hypocrisy to the red pill is Just Pearly Things. Why is that? Let me explain. Because originally, even the founder, Rollo Tomasi, will tell you it was just for men. And then now you have a woman who's got the most followers, and she's now considered the figurehead. So basically, and I'm sorry, Moxie, I got to take it there, but you got a bitch running the manosphere, and the other following her are bitch-ass niggas. Right?
How did she penetrate that? Just like, that just shows who these people are. Because if these leaders of the manosphere were actually doing something right, Pearl's weaselly ass would have never been able to penetrate that so easily like that. It's like that's karma. That's karma.
But you know what, Moxie? I saw this shit coming 4 years ago. I used to always joke that if I wanted black men to pay attention to me, all I would have to do is find a blonde, blue-eyed white girl with big titties, and these niggas will listen. You know what I'm saying? Or find a Latina girl with some cakes, and these niggas will listen, right?
I want to talk to you about
wrong. I was proven wrong because Pearl don't even got half of it. She ain't got no, you already know. She ain't got no assets whatsoever. And that's not to like be vulgar, but the point I'm trying to make is that Pearl proves that there are a lot of men that just want to be, you know, a woman's attention and validation. And Pearl doesn't believe, and I know for a fact Pearl doesn't believe what she says, because I've got people in her own camp that work with Pearl that told me that she lies about, you know, I tell my audience I'm demonetized, but we're actually monetized. People from our own camp have called me and told me this information. Because you know what? Like I told you before, Moxie, it's like Game of Thrones. I still have eyes and ears with certain content creators, and I'm privy to certain information that people don't think I'm privy to. You know what I'm saying?
She said she was demonetized? When was this?
Well, she says her videos get demonetized, which probably some of them do, but most of them probably don't. And I just think that the reality is, Moxie, is Pearl opened up the floodgates now for women to come in, and now the red pill is gonna be watered down. You watch Moxie. You think I'm capping? 5 years from now, this whole space is gonna turn into like a purple pill relationship space. I'm serious. Where it's gonna be women that are running it and bitch ass niggas that are following it.
Oh my God. Yeah, you know what? I think you're freaking spot on. I already see it happening. And these dudes are lost. And that's the thing. These ladies are only pandering. They don't give a shit. They don't want to teach them the real game.
Because it's about the money. Let's keep it real. They see it. You know the motto in the hood. If you see a sucker, he gonna get licked. You feel me? And these women know that. You know what? You pander to lonely men. These guys that are, some of them are wealthy men or guys that are in IT. They make good money, but they can't get a woman unless they pay for it. There's a lot of incels in the space. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to demean anybody or shit on anybody. But there's no reason, in my opinion, that Pearl should have ever even gotten half to the level that she got to. The fact that this bitch, excuse my language, that she made it on Piers Morgan blows my mind.
Well, she also has connections. Her family is wealthy, and you know what I mean. That's what it is.
Another thing, and that's another thing. Only me and LTTV, shout out to him because that's a mutual friend of ours. Me and LTTV were the only ones when the sex party thing. Remember, Sarah Gavi talked about the cameraman in the back, and they were having the sex party. Me and LTTV were the only ones who exposed that. Everybody else was quiet, like it didn't happen. I'm like, wow, really? Okay.
Well, they didn't have like a lot of the footage, That's what it is. I have a question for you.
Oh, Pearl has the footage.
They want to see the receipts.
Allegedly.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
but it's just now the space. And you know what, Moxie? I'll take even one step further. I think that as soon as the AI women robots come in, the manosphere will turn into the AI robot sphere. Everybody can get a dime piece then. I give it about 10, 15 years. When they start rolling out, everybody's going to have a bad bitch for a robot, and the manosphere will die then once the AI robots assimilate, or it'll change. I mean, you already start seeing it now where they've got these AI apps where guys are paying $70 a week just to talk to somebody that's not even real.
Yeah, no, I definitely know it's heading there. Yeah, I have a question regarding what you said about, the blonde hair, blue eyes. Because I've been seeing some crazy stuff in these YouTube streets, man. Like just, the black manosphere, right? There's like these red pillars. They're mad dusty. I don't know. And they just talk about like black women in a really, really bad way. We're like, dude, I've never heard any other race talk like that. I've never heard any black men talk like that either. It's just on the internet. What the hell is going on with that? Like, what's up with that? Have you noticed that?
I mean, I don't really watch that type of content anymore. I used to watch that type of content. I even used to make content like that. I think that the issue is that there are a lot of black men that do want to be with black women, but they have had bad experiences in the past. And sometimes those experiences can be traumatic. And I think that what is going on is that now you see a lot of these panels, right? Where you see a black woman on the panel and a black man on the panel. They're trying to have a conversation about what's going on in the community. However, sometimes those conversations go left, right? So for me personally, the way I look at, and Moxie, let me be clear. My focus in 2023, 2022, 2021, and my focus now going forward beyond those last couple of years is to focus on building financial freedom, whether it's men or women with crypto. And I know you don't agree with that, right? So that is my focus. And I think that the main issue is that you have a lot of people that get on the internet, and some people are, in a position where they I don't think people realize how the optics come off. You know what I'm saying? When you come on the internet and how you present yourself. Like, I know right now I got a hoodie on. You know, I'm not in a suit. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But this is me casually just talking to you. I could have put on a suit and a tie, but that would have been doing too much. I mean, I'm no disrespect to you, Moxie. I know you look nice. But the optics are, I'm just, you know, I look like an everyday guy or what have you. So the issue is this. I mean, it's not just, and I'm not trying to deviate from the topic, because I've also seen a recent rise now of Asian men and Asian women doing these panels and podcasts. I don't know if you've noticed, that have gone viral too. But I think the issue is that there is a lot of Black men that feel disenfranchised, that were overlooked, and there's a lot of, you know, things that are being unpacked in real time. And sometimes I think that people are not aware of the optics of the situation.
I like that. That's interesting. Is there any advice that you provide to these people? Because I mean, I'm just thinking of several situations that I've recently come across where I was like, dude, what the fuck
Well, you know,
happened?
there's a new movement that has sprung forth. It's known the SBE movement, Shame, Blame, and Explain. Have you heard it?
Yeah. Yes, unfortunately I have. I was called, like, it's funny because it's total hypocrisy. Like, when I'm winning an argument, all of a sudden I'm shaming, and then it's like it's gaslighting, but then they don't mind shit. It's like, dude, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, dude, I almost felt bad because I'm an empath, but dude, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Because I think it's just manipulation. But hey, baby steps, right? Baby steps.
I think the main issue is this: we do, Moxie, live in a society, like you said, that is being pussified by being snowflakes, as you mentioned your word, snowflake. The main issue, I think, is now we're in a society where, you know, you can't shame, blame women or explain. I mean, men can try. We just saw what Brittany Renner did, right? And guess what? Brittany Renner is still going to get the bag. She's still going to date high-earning men. She's still going to be on podcasts. She's still going to get that bag. Why? Because Brittany Renner brings in views. There's no incentive, Moxie, for Brittany Renner to switch up her behavior. Why is that? So Brittany Renner, you can make all these YouTube videos calling her a thought, calling her a post wall. Guess what? She's still going to get views. Why? Because it's people that are going to make reaction videos to her, that are going to talk about her. So Brittany Renner knows that her behavior is incentivized monetary by going viral, by getting views. And that's why she'll continue to be on platforms until she's not profitable anymore. And so the reality is this. If men want to shame, blame, explain women, Moxie, the only way you can do that, in my opinion, is have other women shame women. Because you can try, or you become a man that if you shame a woman, she's going to take you seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you like a dude, there's a certain behavior that you know that you're not going to get away with. If you really like with your husband, for example, if you guys are in the middle of a restaurant and you start twerking, I don't think your husband would appreciate that. And I'm pretty sure he would say something.
Even if I didn't have a husband,
wait.
No, because I'm just imagining myself. Even in my craziest party days, you would never catch me twerking in a fucking nightclub, excuse my French, or any, you know what I mean? It's just not my style. That's why I was like, I imagine myself and I'm like, oh, dude, that's not gonna happen. But it's just, I think like the twerking thing is like super, like it just like got out of control. It's like even like the young white chicks with no ass are doing it, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're just popping your back, like, you know. But it is what it is.
But you know, I just think that at the end of the day, you know, a lot of men, when Kevin Samuels was popping, right? You know, conversations were had, but then it got to a point where it's like, okay, so what difference is it having in the real world, right? Because we can come on the internet and talk about the same thing. But it's kind of like, Moxie, you watch the same thing. You watch a Pearl show, and it's the same damn thing every damn show. Body count this, and Pearl is not original. Her whole script is. This is why I reference Pearl, because it just shows how generic the red pill has become, to the point that Pearly things can come through. She's taking Kevin Samuels' talking points, FNF's, Tommy Sotomayor's talking points, and be popping. And now people are calling Pearl, saying that she's the creator of the red pill. I heard somebody say that in the comment. I was like, what? And so the reality is that, Moxie, the only way, listen, I think, Moxie, I'm going to keep it real with you, and I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I think that it's going to take an economic crisis or some sort of World War III to get this gender war out of here, because people in America are just too comfortable. So it's going to take like a drastic situation for people to get back, because right now these are all first world problems type of shit that people are dealing with here. And I think that until shit gets real, where maybe we have a economic crisis, maybe more bank failures, or we have the solar flare hits a blackout, I think people are going to continue to live in La La Land, because that's what's going on. People are just way too comfortable.
I don't know if it's that. No. I don't know if it's that, though. So I think that these gender wars, it's just like these content creators that they don't have anything else to talk about because they're just not that intelligent. They're not talking about what's popping out there. They're not providing real advice. They're just going after the opposite sex. It's like, what's up with all of these underqualified people talking about and giving love advice and all this shit? Even some of this financial advice is black.
You know what, Moxie? Even though I disagree with Anton Daniels a lot, I do think some of his financial advice, from what I've seen, is very valid. I would say his love advice is actually delusional, right? Because this guy's been married for 20 years, or 10 years. I don't know, however long he's been married. There's nothing Anton Daniels can tell me about hitting a lounge and trying to talk to a woman. I'm in 2023. There's nothing, because I'm still out there. He's not. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've never been the guy to say, yo.
He also met his what? That was his like high school sweetheart or something. I bet you Anton Daniels lost his virginity to Rita. That's his wife's name, Rita.
and you know what? I salute him for that, right? Because you met your wife in high school. I actually give him props for that, because the dating market is not a fun place to be. As a single guy in my late 30s, I can tell you right now, it's not a fun place to be. That, you know what I'm saying? And I've never been the guy to say that, and I'm not trying to make this about me where I'm a super player or not, but believe it or not, Moxie, I wasn't always overweight. There was a time that I was on my Usher shit, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, back to the topic. I think, Moxie, Moxie, you got to understand, there is a group of men that, black men that are not, see, with black people, we're not a monolith. So you can't, not every black guy is going to be a thug, a basketball player, or a criminal. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately,
oh my God,
this is where you have passport bros.
Dude, those guys are the worst. They're like
passport bros that are from. Not everyone, not all of them. There are some, not all of them. I'll say there's some brothers in there. But what I will say is there's a lot of educated black men, Moxie, that don't fit those stereotypes that do get overlooked by black women. I just got to keep it real with you. They're considered nerdy or squares. And so they tend to date out. They tend to date Latina women, Asian women, white women, or they get on their passport.
I don't know. I saw some really messed up crap where I was like, whoa. But I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. That's why I asked you, since you mentioned, like, snow bunnies before and all this shit. You know what I mean? It's funny.
Well, you know what, Moxie, I'm glad you brought that up. The snow bunny thing is actually an inside joke on my channel. You know what I mean? And that goes back to years ago. If you watch my channel, I used to have, God, years ago, me and another co-creator, Xanadol's Clutch, used to have a show called Snow Bunny Sundays. And that show
Snow
was
Bunny.
just,
What?
it wasn't about, well, let me explain. It wasn't about white women. It was a show for Black men that do not fit the stereotype. So we would talk a lot about economics. We talked a lot about we were talking about traveling before the whole passport bro thing was a thing. We were talking about current events mostly too. And also the taboo topic, Moxie, was interracial dating. That was our main thing. Because let's keep it real, Moxie, you New York, there are a lot of brothers too that they date out. You know what I'm saying? But one thing about me is I've never, even though I've dated out, it's not a secret. I don't hold white women or Latina women above Black women. I never do that. To me, I always look at women as women, how you treat me, your energy, right? Or vibe, as they call it. So for me personally, that was an inside joke, and some people get it. I know Moxie was like, what? Why do he keep showing the white women? What's going on? But it's just the thing that was an inside joke. And
I even saw
but nowadays,
Omar talking about snow bunnies. He literally said snow bunnies, snow bunnies. He was like, he was calling people out that they were with snow bunnies. Dr. Umar.
Who? Oh yeah,
Dr. Umar.
Yeah.
He was calling them.
And that's another thing, right? And I was one of the first. Moxie. I got a lot of heat for talking about interracial dating because I've talked about dating Asian women. I've talked about Latina women too. And I got a lot of people used to call me a coon and this and that. Now, you know what's crazy, Moxie? You look at Gen Z, these YouTubers that are popping, half of them are with non-Black women or non-women of their race. And now it's cool to talk about white girls, you know what I'm saying? Or dating Latina women. When I was talking about it back in 2015, I was called a coon and a bunch of other names, you know? Now everybody's like going to, you see with passport bros, everybody want to go to DR, Brazil. Everybody want to go there. When I was talking about those type of things, 5-8 years ago, I was a coon, but now everybody's talking about it. Now it's cool to talk about that shit.
I think that it's always been cool to travel. I'm well traveled. I think everybody should, get a passport, travel as much as you can, get out there. What they're doing though is freaking weird. Like they're talking about conquests, how easy it is to get laid in these places. And one of them supposedly isn't allowed in Brazil. So that's what I was reading.
Yeah, and like I said, Moxie, I will say this. I don't disagree with you because I remember there are, and it's not all, but there are definitely some, or the loud vocal minority that, mess it up for the rest. The real passport bros I know, Moxie, I got to keep it real with you. They don't even advertise that shit. They just travel. They mind their business. They don't post it on YouTube. They don't even post the shit on Instagram. They travel this and that. When you see some of these guys, because I remember a few years ago, there was a guy doing videos talking about, if you go to this city in Colombia, the girls cost $50 here. And in this city, they're $100. That's goofy shit to me. I got to keep it real. And even back then, but the reality is, though, and this is the main issue, is not everybody's doing that. There are content creators, I like Ayamawa, for example. You know what I mean? He's not a passport bro. He travels. He does his thing. And one thing I love about his content, he goes everywhere. He went to India, Bangladesh. He went viral because all the Indian people were supporting him, right? So he's not always one of those brothers that talks about going to DR Colombia. There are brothers that are traveling to Africa as well, but you don't hear about them. You know why? Because everybody wants to talk about the ones that talk about women. And this is why, Moxie, like I said, it gets to a point where, I turned 40 in 2 years. I don't want to hear about women all the time. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? There's more important life than coochie. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. We all enjoy a good bunker buster session, but sometimes you, as a man, you got to move on and evolve. You feel what I'm saying? It's just more. And some cats, I think that what it is that some niggas just have been depraved of pussy all their life. And so that's all they focus on. Excuse my, I
It's
didn't mean to be that vulgar, but you know.
It's all good. No, it's all good. So you're single, and you said you're gonna be 40 soonish. Like, why do you think you're single?
Mhm.
And what? Like, it seems like you want to meet the right person, right? Or do you
Why
want to
am I
just have?
single?
Why do you
I'm
think
gonna
that
be
you're
real
single?
with you. Not to get too detailed, but I have some personal issues that I got to work out with my inner child that that affect me from my childhood. I know it may not seem like it, but I and especially right now for the last, because I've gone through, I have two family members that died in the last 2 years. One of my best friends died 2 years ago. So like the last 2 or 3 years, I've been kind of emotionally unavailable, and I've been self-aware enough to know this. And then also, real talk, I just think I got to work on myself. And also, real talk, I think that sometimes when I'm in a relationship, I can be an asshole, That's just being honest.
Wow, I wasn't
So,
expecting that.
long story
It was
short,
like
I gotta work on some things. Huh?
I
What?
wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that. That was a very like real answer. I respect it. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, I have to work on my inner child. I have to do this. Like that's taking accountability and you put it out there. So respect to you. But that's like part of that's like the first step is knowing that you have to clean your side of the street. That's when I know that that person is going to be around the corner. I'm not even just saying that because you know that, you're quality enough to attract that person, but you know that you have to be the man that you want to be before. And I respect that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I think that a lot of men have to be honest with themselves. Like if you have you should be hyper aware of yourself to know what your own flaws are, to the point that if you work on that. So if you are underweight, then put on muscle. I got some pounds that I could lose. I'm not going to lie. I'm working on it. You work on that.
Mhm.
If you're in a situation where you live at your mama house and you're 35, you probably want to work on that. We know 1/3 of millennials and Gen Z still live at their mom's house, 18 to 30, right? You work on that. I do think that there's a lot of things to work on for me as an individual. But I also think that I'm gonna be real with you, Moxie, not to flip the script, but once you start dating women past the age of 35, there are a lot of women that have a hard time compromising. They're stuck in their ways, and it becomes difficult because nobody wants to date somebody who's delusional. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on a second. People in general get stuck in their ways the older that they get. Men too. That's one thing about older men. You cannot change them. You cannot teach an old dog new tricks. Okay.
You
Women,
can
I
if you're
mean,
the right woman.
dude, you cannot change an old dude. You're not going to. Like with somebody, with a man that's still in like their 30s, you know what I mean? You could even do it. Like you can kind of like train him a little bit. Because I think that us women, we train you guys. We train you guys a bit. Because we are the ones that, say, hey, you need to act like this or I'm out. Like, you know what I mean? That's training somebody. I'm probably using like, a word that probably may be triggering because training, it sounds like a dog kind of, but it is. And I think that like, setting the boundaries, like women are who train dudes.
So
You don't think so?
you don't think men are the ones who train women? If let's say I'm dating a woman that's not used to going to gala events and red carpet events, and I show her how to what she needs to wear and tell her how to act because she's used to just going to ghetto clubs. I mean, I would say that's training, isn't it? As a man, if I'm putting you in that position now, with shorty, you meeting millionaires and stuff like that, and I'm showing you how to act, right?
But usually they're not like.
I don't know.
when you start going into like the younger chicks that like fresh and fit and like Andrew Tate are pushing, where it's like, oh, body count, they want to focus on like those virgins, that it's like, dude, virgins, like what, maybe like 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, like what are we talking here? You know what I mean? Like people are sexual, you know, people have sex when they're like in high school for the most part. So when they start talking about virgins, I get a little nervous. 18-year-olds, 19, like we're talking about like trainings a woman like to go into a gala, like taking her out the hood, I guess, if it's some ghetto chick that has never like been around the block. But usually even if you're a hood rat, if you look good, like some dude is gonna scoop you up and you're gonna like, you know, get into places that maybe you shouldn't be going to because your ass is dusty. You know what I mean? Like, I think that with men, the way they treat a woman, that's a woman that taught him that. No, you don't think so?
I mean, you know, I treat women because of how I saw my dad treat my mother, and how I saw my mother treat my dad. So how my parents treated each other, that was my first, you know, model of a relationship. And I'm glad that my mother and father, they taught me well. You know what I'm saying? I do think, you know, this whole training thing, and once again, this goes back to what I was talking about, compromise, right? As you get older, you kind of, like you mentioned, you're set in your ways. However, I do think that if you're a person who's self-aware and you're open towards improving, then let's say I pick my nose a lot. I don't know. I'm just saying, let's say I do that.
Yeah,
And let's say my girl notices that.
I said, yeah,
let's say my girl notices that.
Yeah.
Right. So she might tell me, hey, babe, stop picking your nose. It's a habit. So I think that, you know, I agree with you that, yeah, a lot of people are set in their ways, but I think that there are also people that, you know, if you are self-aware enough, you're willing to continue to evolve as a human being and grow. Because I'm pretty sure being married at year one or being in a relationship at year one is not going to be the same as being in a relationship at year 10 or being married at year 10. People continue to grow and evolve, and sometimes things change. Your hobbies might change. Maybe when you met your husband at first, you were into anime. Now you're not into anime anymore. I don't know. I mean, things change all the time. People change.
Any YouTube advice? What would you do now? Because it's like, I just started my channel a month ago. Any, I know that, you know, you're a trendsetter.
The number one YouTube advice I always tell people is be consistent. Whether you're posting every day or 3 times a week or once a week, just be consistent and understand that you're probably not going to blow up your first 100 video, probably not even your first 200. It's going to take time, and you just have to believe in yourself and also be willing to experiment and switch it up. If you look at your analytics, and if you notice that this one topic maybe got more views than others, maybe then try to delve into more similar topics like that, right? And then one of the biggest things, and this is one thing I learned too late, is, and if I could go back now, this is why I started a crypto channel, is understand what type of audience that you want to have, right? Do you want to have an audience of mostly women, men, or a mixed audience? Do you want to have an audience of younger folk, mixed? You know, understand the type of audience that you want to have. The sweet spot, obviously, is because YouTube is a younger viewer game, because the young folk watch YouTube more. 18 to 30 is like the sweet spot, right? But if you're talking about more topics that are more mature or higher IQ, then your audience might be older. So, for example, I notice when I do my AI videos, my audience tends to be 30 to 60. But when I talk about thought things or something like that, feminism or girl things, then my audience is 25 to 35. So understanding the dynamics of what type of content you create in relevancy to your audience will allow you to understand your audience better, if that makes sense.
And what can you tell the youth that, that's maybe lacking a little identity? Maybe they're, taking it too extreme with because you said that the Manosphere was dead in the Discord. I don't think it's dead yet. There are a lot of young people that are still full on red pill, where I'm like, what the hell is wrong with these people? What can you tell these people?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest advice to guys is to go out there and try things for yourself. Don't just sit back and believe every YouTuber, even if you hear it from me or hear it from Moxie. Go out and experiment, talk to women, and go outside, damn it. And just, I mean, the swiping acts, okay, cool. Everybody does Tinder, Hinge. If that works for you, great. But actually try to meet people outside in the real world. And that doesn't have to be a club or bar. I don't go to clubs or bars anymore. I go to, art festivals or fashion events, house parties, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So go outside, meet people outside. Focus on yourself if you have to focus on yourself. And really, the content that you consume, make sure it's not always negative content, because that does affect your psyche. So I think that's very important, is a lot of these people consume this stuff and then they get mad and then they wonder why they're not seeing the results in the real world that they want to see. Is because you're watching content that's not giving you real sustenance or edifies you on a mental and spiritual level. So, pay attention to content that'll help you utilize applicable advice in the real world, not just content that is entertainment.
Well, these people really think that Fresh and Fit is helping them, when I think that they could be helping them more. But I don't want to end it off on a bad note.
Leave Fresh and Fit alone. What they do to you? Leave Fresh and Fit alone.
Somebody was like,
leave them alone.
I had to block my first person. It was a Fresh and Fit fan. He came in. I was like, dude, I wasn't even talking so badly. I wasn't telling them to cancel them completely. He was like, what did they do to you? They'll always be more successful than you. Like, the guy kept on talking. Then he's talking about my husband. I'm like, dude, okay, you got to go. But it was like, I popped my cherry and, blocked my first person. So what's next for Solo TV? Let's end it off on an exciting note. What's next, man?
I'm going to continue to focus on my crypto channel, Trendsetter Crypto TV. That's where I'm going to be at. I still do live streams on Solo TV 84, but now that I'm demonetized, it's just whenever I'm motivated to do so. And hopefully next year, by the time you'll see me, I'll be hopefully in my own studio doing my own podcast. But we're not going to do no Fresh and Fit style podcast. We're going to put on good women, Christian. It's going to be a Christian dating show where I'm going to have Christian women and men, because I feel like everybody's watching the OnlyFans and thoughts and IG thoughts. We need a Christian perspective. So I'm working on getting my own studio next year. So then I'll have my own Christian show, which I think would be dope, an alternative to what you see now.
Yeah, no, I think that would be dope. Everything is so extreme anyway. It's like almost like you need to be extreme because everybody's fighting for eyeballs, So it's like you got to do something shocking.
Well,
and it's like,
I think a Christian show would be shocking for the fact that a lot of people don't like religious type of content. But then I think a lot of people would also be intrigued to see how dating really works if you're not doing it from a secular level where, you got to smash all these women, right? That's the thing now with guys, slay all these women. What does it look like when people are dating on a healthy level where Christ is involved and there's foundations of, like you mentioned, boundaries, right? Well, the Bible is then utilized as that boundary. You know what I'm saying? So I really want to do that. I think that's a...
I said these dudes are not smashing like crazy. They're just talking about it. That's the problem. They're not smashing.
I mean, you never know, Mom. I think Moxie. I think Andy Tate gets it in.
Bro. What?
I think Andrew Tate, he gets it in a lot. I think he does.
Dude, don't even get me started on him, brother. Like, to be continued, because he is a hot
You don't
mess.
think Andrew Tate gets women?
Yo, he gets mad women. He has a whole harem. He's in trouble because he's a freaking online pimp. He didn't make that much money off of crypto. He made his money pimping chicks on OnlyFans, flying them over under false pretenses. That's why he's in trouble. That's called trafficking, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Moxie, the Andrew Tate fans, they're going to come for you if they see this clip. You know that, right? They don't play. Even I don't want no smoke with them. So I'm just being honest.
Listen to me. Andrew Tate fans, you want to get, really laid? Like, I'll give you some advice. That dude, he's just going to have you dusty as fuck. Okay? You're not going to be smashing. You're just going to be paying $8,000 per annum on his war room. You're just going to be sending money to their OnlyFans and whacking off. Like, you want some good advice? I'll be your big sister. Don't hate on me. Okay? Don't hate on me. Use me to your advantage. Okay? That's all. That's what I got to say. But thank you.
Don't like Andrew Tate.
It's just cap. Bugatti. What color is your Bugatti? Those shits were rented, bro.
Allegedly.
Those Bugattis, they were rented. He didn't own those.
I don't know.
Yes. No, he didn't. No. Now they seized those shits. The repo man came.
All I know is it'll be interesting to see where Andrew Tate's arc ends up, because he's been a lot since he came out of jail. He's been a lot more gentler when it comes to women. You know what I'm saying? He's been more pro woman. You know what I mean? From his tweets, telling women that they can get whatever they want, if taking them shopping, and yeah, I mean, he's a different guy now.
Stop the cap.
Okay, well, obviously, he's freaking on thin ice. They indicted his ass. There's going to be a freaking trial that comes. He's not free. He's not out of jail. He's just out on bail. That's a big difference. These people, they're like, yo, he's free. What are you talking about? It's like, dude.
Stop the cap.
I have a question for you, Moxie. Do you think my content, am I too hard on women, or am I harder on men? What do you think? Be honest. From what you heard.
I think you're freaking hilarious. I was hoping that we would crack more jokes. But it is what it is. Hopefully you'll come again and we'll stream.
Or I'll be serious here.
No, next time we're gonna be freaking. Now that we've gotten to know each other for real, we'll freaking bust some chops next time. But I will tell you this, I don't know, sometimes you'll say some things, but you're pretty funny though. You get away with a lot of shit because you're actually really funny. That's the thing, is that you'll say some misogynistic shit, but you're not like, yo, you need a harem. You're just like, yo, and you're kind of do a little self-deprecating stuff too. You're like, yo, I mean, whatever. But and then I was with some Jewish chick and I was doing this. You're like, bars or whatever. I can't even, you're fucking funny. You're hilarious. And so you could get away with shit that
I remember that.
Fresh and Fit is not funny. Fresh doesn't really have that much of a personality. I'm sorry to say. I know that's your boy. I'm sorry. Look, my issue is really with Myron, okay? I think he's an asshole. Plus, what's up with those Daisy Dukes? What's up with those Poom Poom shorts? I've seen him several times in Poom Poom shorts, and he was even crying in Poom Poom shorts like a bitch. But you're freaking funny.
I gotta ask you now, why are you so focused on the shorts though, Moxie? You should have been paying attention to the rhetoric that instead of the shorts.
Okay, because I follow LT.
Shout out to LTTV.
I follow a Duke, the Don, you know what I mean? So these guys, they react to this stuff and then they play it back and they slow-mo. They're like, oh shit, look. I'm like, oh shit, you're right. Look at these freaking zesty ass shorts. Wow. If I was just watching it, which I don't, I wouldn't have noticed, honestly. He got up so quickly. But these reaction channels, man, they They freaking slow-mo. They'll catch you looking
I
busted as
don't know,
fuck.
Moxie. I don't know, Moxie.
I know that.
Maybe I have to make a phone call, see if I can get you Miami, and then you can tell that to Myron himself. How would you feel about that?
Yo, he would kick my ass out, son. Like, he would kick my ass out. It's like, probably I will say something, and it's like, it's not going to be on some Britney. I'll be like, dude, you're a fucking herb. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would be like talking kind of, and he would just be like, dude, get the fuck out. And I'll be like, yo, that's why this shit is rented, son. That's why this shit is rented, bitch, or something. I don't know. Whatever. Like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't think it would go well. I think he would kick me out. I would say something because he has a short fuse and he's very misogynistic. He has a God complex. He would kick me the fuck out. Fresh wouldn't kick me out.
A God
Myron would kick me.
What's a God complex?
A lot of doctors have God. Just like he thinks
what are like the signs?
I think that somebody like Myron is just, he has delusions of grandeur. And the thing is, he found success very quickly with, this podcast. And, he gets a lot of support from these guys. But so I think that he just, he thinks he's hot shit. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I look at him, and I'm not saying that I'm hot shit or anything, but I look at him. I see him.
I will say this, and I know you won't believe it, Moxie, but I've seen Myron interact with women on the streets, and he's actually very naturally charismatic off camera. He's 6'4". He's the personality. He's got muscle.
Well, yeah, he's the personality.
I think that sometimes, Moxie, I'm not saying that Myron is not who he is, but I'm just saying that when he talks to women, he's definitely more personable than he's on the show. If he's talking to a woman, obviously that, he's pursuing. I'm not saying he's a softie, but I'm just saying that
he's very cocky. It's like that whole, like, he's very cocky. He's very cocky, very, very arrogant. And
New York girls like him, right? That's how New York girls like him. You're like a cocky motherfucker. Facts.
No. Because he's straight up like Middle Eastern type of like misogynistic shit where it's like he wants a harem and he's trying to, say like, oh, you need more than one girl. And these dudes can't even get one chick. They're like, who wants more? Who wants 3 girlfriends? They're like all raising their hand on that, like whatever podcast, like I forgot, Valuetainment or whatever.
The guy at the local bodega in Uptown doesn't want to harem either. Come on, Moxie. You go to the bodega down in Uptown.
Yeah, no, but that's not the bodegas.
I do.
Yeah, those dudes, those Middle Eastern.
Some of them.
Oh yeah. From like. Oh yeah, I know. Actually, one of them was my client. He's like, the bodegas aren't even owned by these Dominican dudes anymore. Like the Dominicans now own a bunch of supermarkets. Like the delis and the bodegas are owned by, in New York at least, they're owned by I forgot where they're from now. And now it's fuck. Anyway, but yeah, they're all from this same exact place in the Middle East. And yeah, they have harems. Like my client has a wife and some, side piece and some other one. And yeah. And they even did like some sort of ceremony. I'm obviously not going to say his name, but they did some sort of ceremony. He did a ceremony with the side chick. Yes. Yes. Cause they're religious. I swear. He was like, I was like, why are you doing that with that ghetto ass chick? It's like, whatever. But
too much information.
I mean, look, I'm not going to trash Fresh and Fit in front of you. I'm just going to do it behind your back because I know that, I don't want to do that. Like, but I don't even trash them that badly. I mean, I just hope that they really help men. I'm sorry?
I think that there are men that they do help. I mean, it's obvious from the comments that they get, the emails, the super chats, the DMs, things like that. Fresh and Fit, you know, they're going to have a lot of support because they talk to the youth, but they're also going to have a lot of detractors because not everybody agrees with them, and I understand why. I will say that those guys have always been very supportive of me. They've been loyal. When I was at some of my lowest moments in YouTube, you know, but at the end of the day, the way I look at it is that, you know, I think that you will see them continue to improve, and you know, only time will tell. The only one, not to believe it or not, because I had some YouTuber, some dummy who wanted me to crash out over something they did. The only one I can hold accountable is myself. You know what I'm saying? Because when it's that day of judgment and God asks me what I did, he's not going to ask me what Moxie did. He's not going to ask me what Myron did or what Fresh did. He's going to ask me what I did. So the only one I can hold accountable is myself, because I know people asking me about holding this person accountable or that person accountable. The way things work in the real world is that accountability is only done through your own actions of self-awareness. You know, it's like Moxie's like dealing with somebody who's hooked on dope, right? You can tell them like, yo, you need to go to a freaking rehab center, but they're not going to take it serious unless they want to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, and they'll get mad at you. When you tell somebody the truth and they're not ready for it, and you think that you're helping them, they freaking get really upset. That's a great analogy. They're like, these dudes are like dope fiends. By the way, I was thinking of Yemen. All those dudes that own
I was trying to say, but
they have harems.
I wasn't trying to say they're dope fiends.
Well, shit, no, they are, and that was a great analogy.
See, Moxie,
that was
messy. You messy. You messy. See, this is a setup. I got set up, y'all.
No, but you know what, though? Solo, it makes me very happy. First of all, I have respect for you, and I think that you're an OG, also just very nice gentleman for joining me today. You're the first person that I asked, actually, from the YouTube streets to come. For whatever reason, I was just like, it just felt right, and I wanted to talk about, like, the manosphere and kind of, like, you know, your rise to the top. And well, fucking, you know what it is? Pearl, it's like, if you talk bad about her too much, like, it's a good thing. There's no bad publicity with that Sasquatch. You know what I mean? It's like, the thing is, I'm wearing pearls right now, but it's like, dude, there's no such thing as bad publicity with somebody like that. Like, she's selling shirts, like T-shirts that say, like, you know, women shouldn't vote or whatever. Like, it's like, dude, what is this? There's so much, like, other shit that we need to focus on.
Moxie,
why are we trying to go back?
Hold on. That right there should tell you it's a gimmick. It's all a gimmick for this chick. It's all a money grab. That right there. What woman is going to wear that shirt besides her?
Some dudes. Some losers that are simping for this chick. Yeah, somebody's going to buy it. There's a lot of stupid people, I guess. I don't know. Like, there's a lot, like, I'm sure as hell not going to wear it, or any woman. No woman is going to wear it, obviously. But it is what it is. But yeah, no, it made me happy to know, though, that, you know, that Fresh and Fit were loyal to you, and they still, like, you know, that they showed you respect and you're good with them. Like, because I don't know, I thought that was like, dude, these guys are rich and they should have, like, freaking broken you off with a nice, you know, nice piece. But you're telling me that you feel good. So
yeah, I mean, you know, I'm my own man. You know what I'm saying? I don't really, you know what I'm saying? I don't really ask for handouts or anything like that. But, you know,
that's not a handout.
I will say this: if they want me to come to Miami again, I will take a free trip. I ain't gonna cap. You know what I'm saying?
That's nice. So they fly you out. They better fly your ass out. Shit. Should better be first class too. But no, yeah, listen, I appreciate your time. Anything else you want to discuss, or are we good?
Nah, Moxie.
What?
You messy, Moxie. You messy. I
Wait,
love
what
it.
did
I
I
love
do?
it though. I love it.
You're
I
not the
love
only
it. You
person
messy.
that said that. And I'm like, wait, what was I messy about? What did I do? What did I
You know what
say?
I'm saying?